Good. I think guys have had good energy. Came out, you know, we talked about yesterday, like they wanted to practice. You know, like sometimes you get around teams and players where they feel like they have to practice. Like these guys have been feeling like they want to practice. So it's been good 2 days.
How important was the way you guys responded after the Oregon game? What you saw from them defensively in terms of tackling the pressure and stopping the run? Did you have a feeling that was coming? That it was sort of an aberration against Oregon, or what was your sense of it?
Yeah, I mean, part of it's I think Oregon's a good team,
Yeah.
you know, and so went out and they executed better than us. And you know, you come back, you look at it, and hey, where can we be better? And I think it was a good time for us with a bye after playing, you know, 6 straight and going on the West Coast on a short week, and we got a chance to recharge, got a chance to watch film, areas we need to improve, and then I thought we had a really good week of practice. So we had confidence going into the game, and you know the game goes the way the game goes. But I thought we had a really good week of practice going into it, week and a half really. So
With the road defense plays in a hostile environment, going on the road, how do you step up to that if need be, but also keep your same mindset of what this defensive scheme is all about and not get too pulled into the emotion of the game?
yeah, I think you know we talked a little bit about number one, like the way you win the rivalry is win the game, and the way you win the game is you got to go execute on your side of the ball. And you know sometimes, you know, I've been around rivalry games over the years. You know, sometimes if you get worried about some of the other things like pregame or the week leading up, we're not worried about any of that. We're worried about practice, and we're worried about building habits so we can go out and execute. And if we go out and execute, then we'll put ourselves in position. So I think that's the big thing. Focus on what's important, which the important thing is executing defensively to give the team a chance.
Great,
How much did facing an Iowa team run heavy kind of prepare you for what you're going to see this week? Because obviously Michigan's kind of, you know, they're not spreading it around throwing for 400 a game.
Yeah, no, but yes, there's an element of, hey, you know, we went against a really physical, talented O-line last week. We're going against one again this week. I think that kind of puts you in that mindset. Their run games are a little bit different. You know, Michigan spreads it out a little bit more to run than Iowa did. Iowa kind of keeps it pretty tight to run the ball. Michigan will do it both. So there is a little bit of difference there. But I think in terms of just being physical and have to tackle, you know, I think it does put you back-to-back games in a similar mindset.
From your time at Minnesota, I guess how much does the Brown Jet game maybe prepare you as a coach for maybe controlling and reining in some emotions that come with a rivalry game? And
Yeah.
How critical is that from your standpoint with making sure guys play to the whistle, not through it?
Yeah, I think just being honest to your question, like that game probably wasn't, because we played them every couple years and it kind of lost its luster. You know, we had those other ones, you know, against Wisconsin and Iowa. So those ones are probably a little more similar to what goes on here. But yeah, I think what I started to the question that was asked was like, what is our goal? Our goal is to win. What is our role? Our role is to limit points and get the ball back for the offense. So if we keep focusing on that, you know, then we'll do what we need to do to get ready for the game, for your question. And I have seen guys, sometimes they get caught up in the emotions and they get caught up in some of the other things. This group's pretty mature, and I think we're going to focus on, you know, practicing hard.
They haven't named a starter. Sharon, I think, said he thinks it might be Jack Tuttle. Well, one, have you ever, I don't know, I couldn't remember, have you faced Tuttle before? And two, what is it, when there is a little uncertainty at quarterback, what does that do defensively?
We might have. The last time this happened was Indiana in 2021. And they had played like 3 or 4 quarterbacks that year. Northwestern's had some years where they've had like 3, 4 quarterbacks. So we've been through this before a little bit. I think they all have some different strengths and weaknesses and different skill sets. I think they've all, at various times during the year, have moved the ball and scored points. So, you know, we've got to have the mindset of we could see any of them, and we've got to have an answer for the things that they present. So we don't expect to know. We'll kind of see when we get there, and we may even see some different packages. I would expect packages. You know, if it is Tuttle, I'd expect to see 10 in the game running the ball, and so those are things that we all have to be prepared for.
Do you prepare for the true freshman who hasn't played yet?
I mean, you prepare for them by preparing for their offense. You know, it's, he hasn't been, on film, and you haven't had a chance to see him. If he comes in, what are they going to do? They're going to run their offense, and they're going to run those plays. And, they may have tailored some things to him, but, we kind of put our focus on the guys that we've seen on film and have seen in games.
How do you handle Loveland?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. I mean, you got to know where he's at all times. I think there's some things from a schematic standpoint. There's some things from a personnel standpoint, but I think it all starts with where is he? And because is he detached? Is he attached? Is he in the backfield? Like, they move him around, they put him in a bunch of different spots, and I think they do a really good job of featuring him and getting the ball. So it starts with where is he? What is the situation in terms of down and distance? And then there's some schematic things and personnel things.
Coming off of Oregon, where things obviously didn't go your way in the end result, but the first half, especially against that, I don't think they got a first down until the second quarter. Getting those 3 and outs, how much confidence were you guys building as a defense to carry into next week?
Yeah, I think it was good to come out and start fast. In a game, homecoming at home, I think, getting a chance to start fast gives you confidence. But I actually just talked to the guys out there, like, at the end of practice, there's going to be games where you start fast, there's going to be games where you don't. But you get to decide what it goes to. Like, there's been times where good defense, if it doesn't start well, they'll get it to go well. And if you do start it fast, you got to be able to maintain that through. And when the team responds, you got to be able to take the punches and come back. We talked about that last weekend. I said, just so you know, that it ain't going to go like the first half and the second half. I'm just telling you, I've been around football for 24 years. They're going to come back, and there's going to be a pushback. And what's our response to the pushback? So there's ebbs and flows in a football game. Coach Smith says it all the time. They're long games. They might start one way and finish a completely different way. So we got to stay mentally sharp and focused on the task at hand.
I think Jonathan said you guys use 17 guys in the front 7.
Yeah.
And it was early and often rotation. I guess, how does that maybe benefit all of those guys in terms of not just the physical freshness, but the mental freshness and the ability to kind of, I guess, know that they're part of it?
Yeah, I think it's valuable in 3 ways. I mean, 1, in the game, you're keeping guys fresh. 2, I think you go through the long haul of a Big Ten schedule, like, you're playing more people, you're putting less wear and tear on bodies. And then 3, guys feel invested. Like, when you feel like you're not playing, like, your investment level is naturally going to be a little lower. Nothing, it's just human nature. So when 17 guys played in the front 7, like, those guys are invested during the week in the film sessions and the meetings and practice. So I think there's nothing but positive. Now we're in a position where we have the ability to do that. If guys don't deserve to be in, then we're not just going to put guys on the field. So it's a testament to the guys.
They got in and you guys still tackled well and defeated blocks and everything. It's one thing to play a lot of guys, but they came in and carried it forward.
Yeah, I would agree. The guys that were in, I thought did a pretty good job overall. Yeah, in terms of taking on blocks and tackling.
We saw a heavy dose of Darius last week, and I guess, how does he...
Snow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I guess, how does he fit, just his skill set versus what you see offensively and, like, his usage? And obviously, Iowa's a run-heavy team, but we saw a lot more of him in those 3 linebacker type sets.
Yeah, so, I mean, when we get bigger people, we put bigger people in, and, he's a guy that's played that Sam backer for us. When it's 11 personnel, it's more of a nickel. But him and Wayne plays there too, because Wayne kind of does double duty. Wayne plays Will, Wayne plays some Sam. So I think both those guys kind of, I thought, did a nice job. I think the unique thing about that position is you got to be physical enough to set the edge, but then you got to be, if they split the tight end out or put the receivers over, you got to be able to go out and play in space. So to answer your question, those 2 things, you got to be able to set edges and you got to be able to function in space. And I think Snow probably had his best performance, at least since I've been here, was last week.
Do you notice with him, like, I don't know how much you were familiar with the player he was before the injury, but where is he in terms of the, physical ability to what he once was?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't speak to that. I do know that he played defensive back, and so when I came in, he was coming off of rehab and wasn't even full speed. So for me, he's a backer, although he would want to argue with me and say that he could still go out there and cover it down on receivers, which I'm a little hesitant to agree with. But I think he's a good linebacker, and I think he does a good job in space and is good in coverage. So, that's a testament to probably what he was doing before when he was in the secondary.
Ed Wood's the guy that came in and he had some injuries at corner. And
Yeah.
You got the program. he had a couple real good back-to-back plays against the run and pass defense. How's he come along, and what's he meant to the defense?
Yeah, I think he has improved and he has gotten better and been more impactful. He played most of his snaps last season at nickel, and you know, so him getting transitioned back to corner, I think he's done well. I remember the series; he made 3 nice plays in a row. I remember I got Coach Mead on the phone. I was like, "Tell him, hell of a job!" Like he had a pass breakup and 2 nice tackles. One was on the edge. So yeah, and we need it. We're going to need it again, and then some this week. So.
Even the touchdown was pretty well covered, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We just got to, you know, get located, get it out. But yeah, I thought for the most part he was in good position.
How has that been? When we talk about the 17 guys up front, but you've really been kind of anchored and tethered to those 4 guys plus Gross.
Yeah.
In that defensive backfield with the injuries. I mean, how have they kind of sustained it? How big was the bye week for them?
It was very big. And the other thing is, I mean, we rep a lot of guys in practice. And so, yeah, I mean, that position we kind of, as you know, in the first 2 or 3 games, we lost, you know, a bunch of guys, and that's football, you know. So those guys have been toting the load. We've gotten other guys in here and there, and those guys are working and prepping hard during the week. If their number's called, I'm confident in them.
How important is it using that chain of command you just described? You called Coach Mead, told him to tell the player about a play, just to get that information. Now, how important is it to get that encouragement out when you see stuff like that?
It's good. Because sometimes I feel like as the coordinator, and not for the non-linebackers, like because the linebackers I coach, so I got them every day, right? So for the other guys, you know, it's just kind of me in the unit meeting or, you know, when we're out there at practice. So I try to go out of my way if they do something well to point it out and get it to them, just because, you know, for the other positions, because I don't have the relationship and the time that I spend with them as I do with the backers. So I think it's important, you know, when guys do well, tell them they're doing well, because we're big about, we're just going to tell you the truth. Like, if you're not doing well, we're going to tell you, right? And if you do well, we're going to tell you, you know. And I think that kind of keeps a little bit of the sting away. Like, just like, you got to understand, we're just giving you the facts. And if the facts are you're doing well, we're going to tell you that. And if they're not, we're going to tell you that too. It's not personal. And so that's kind of how we try to do it.
All right, thank you.